seen a side opposition today who has been opposing an imaginary proposition. They opposed a case where all plants are immediately removed, and therefore countries can't meet their needs, and therefore they'll immediately switch to coal, and therefore everything is going to be bad. No, ladies and gentlemen, that's not at all what we propose. We propose in my very first speech today that we will not start any new projects, and we will phase out all existing projects doing it. All our opponents came back at us. They basically said, okay, you prolong the risks. It's in tension with your own case. Ladies and gentlemen, the whole point of our case is the fact that building new nuclear power plants was a form of expansion. It was a form of these countries making new nuclear power plants and becoming more reliant. And what we said was that we would gradually phase out this reliance and eventually go for renewable energy. We will not start any new projects. That was extremely clear. Ladies and gentlemen, in my very first speech today, I set out to prove to you two major things. First of all, whether nuclear power plants actually cause active harms. And second of all, whether green energy is a viable alternative. So let's look back at these two issues and see how side proposition has taken the lead. First of all, let's look at how nuclear power plants cause active harms. Now, the first point we brought to you was the idea of nuclear mining. Opponents accused us of having only one example, and that is China. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we already told you in my very first speech that the whole world of nuclear power plants is extremely reliant on three countries: South Africa, Australia, and majorly China, ladies and gentlemen. But more importantly, it's not simply the conditions in China itself. It's the very nature of deep shaft mining that actually creates all those conditions for the workers and environmental damages. And our parents never was able to oppose the very nature of deep shaft mining and how it will cause a problem no matter how good your safety regulations are. And all they came up to say was that coal mining is the same. Ladies and gentlemen, they never was able to prove how nuclear mining would not cause the same problem. So the second point we brought to you was the idea of nuclear waste. Our parents had one response. They said, well, we can store it in a mountain in Switzerland, ladies and gentlemen. My second speaker came up and told you that the facility in Switzerland was not permanent, and it was planned to ship towards Olkiluoto in the US. And what happened, ladies and gentlemen, in my very first speech, I told you that supposedly permanent facility has now been abandoned, ladies and gentlemen, not solving the problem at all. And we can't even deny that nuclear waste is a big problem, ladies and gentlemen. And so when we finally moved on to the third point on nuclear safety, all our parents could say was basically that, well, core explosions have the same effect. Ladies and gentlemen, we told you how nuclear explosions cause irreparable damages, and core explosions cannot possibly compare. And all our parents could say is that nuclear explosions are just as bad as core explosions. They never were able to deny all of these three major harms we brought to you. And on this very point, on whether nuclear power actually brings active damages, it's this side that's taken today. So the second point was whether green energy is actually a viable solution. Now they told you that nuclear energy is more affordable, despite the fact that we told you you need huge expertise, huge number of scientists, how Nigeria bankrupted trying to build one, and how we're facing a solution of $7 billion building a nuclear power plant versus $200 per village in China, ladies and gentlemen. And all our parents could say, we have a nuclear battery that can magically solve everything, ladies and gentlemen. No one is using a nuclear battery. No one is using a pepper rock reactor. No one is using a thorium reactor, ladies and gentlemen. It's this side of the house that proved to you how China is gradually moving to renewable energy throughout the country. This side of the house that told you how the European Union and Spain and countries like Germany are shifting towards renewable energy in the long-term future. It's this side of the house that told you the international community reminds and convinces and tells us that we are the right side, ladies and gentlemen. And for all those reasons, how we've proved to you nuclear power plants cause active harm, how we've proved to you that green